Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Phillip Siddiq Show. New, rogue, direct TV, the first effort. If you like The Shield, I'm really sure you're going to like this movie or this TV. What shall we call it?
Well, I suppose it's a TV series, but I'm glad that you kind of dipped your foot in a said movie because that was certainly the kind of quality we were aiming for.
It looks very cinematic.
People keep that term keeps popping up, which is it's good. We're happy. It's a good comparison.
Oh, how rude of me. Leah, Gibson, Joshua, Sasse. Make sure I get it right.
He is sassy.
As you guys will see in the film for sure. Okay, let's just dive right into it. How did you guys get these particular parts? And your chemistry is just, it's fire and ice. How'd you guys work that?
We were very lucky. I mean, we walked into the room with each other. I got the script was going around for a long time.
Right.
People had heard about it in Hollywood and in Europe. It was a real buzz. And I auditioned one day, was given the job the next, and they flew me out the day after. So it was very quick for me, and I was there. Within 2 days, I met Leah, and we had what's called a chemistry read.
Yes.
Which was my last audition process.
Okay.
So I'd been through a handful of auditions already, and then I got a phone call to come in and have this chemistry test, which is essentially they're testing for chemistry.
Yes.
And they had a few other girls in mind, but I was the first that tested with Josh, and it went well. There was chemistry, I suppose.
Okay.
So.
I think it's like to kind of get that history. I think it's just important that you're both really open and honest, and I think we both had a very similar work ethic as to how we wanted to approach it. Kind of, we're both quite ballsy with it because it had to be. The script was very raw, and I think if we'd have done anything other than that, it wouldn't have worked, you know. And yeah, we just clicked, and this happens sometimes. That's why they do chemistry reads, because they already know that they're both the talent and whatever it is that they're happy with your standard of work, but they need to see that there's that.
Yes.
Which is important. It's crucial.
Well, it's a funny thing when you think that testing for chemistry and needing chemistry to be a very important part of the casting process and the show. Chemistry is an intangible, it's like this weird thing.
Yes.
How do you define it really? But it's just wanting to see that we're connecting and believable with our history and our relationship with one another. And
I can say you two are definitely believable.
well, that's good.
Definitely. Now let's delve into the characters, especially with your character, Max, your younger brother, and then your father.
Well, I suppose me and my brother really represents the two sides of Jimmy, but also the past and the future. Alec, my character, his eldest son, sort of represents everything that Jimmy's come from. He's built up from the streets, and he's got his hands dirty, and he's always been willing to take out the trash. And he's grown to be that man that Jimmy once was. Max represents everything that Jimmy wants to be and wants to become and wants the family to go in that direction. He's more intelligent. It's sort of like a brains and a brawn, the yin and the yang kind of thing. And so it's very difficult for Jimmy to see me, everything that he was, because it's just reminding him when he's trying to go in a new direction. So you're seeing Alec, who loves his father and is incredibly loyal, will do anything for the family, anything for his father, anything for his wife, his brother, his daughter, his gang, his crew. But he's constantly berated by his father, constantly emasculated, and that is just boiling anger in him, this over and over. I mean, when we first meet Alec, this has already been going on for years and years, and his brother's in prison, and still the brother's the good one. And that's sort of the dynamic you're watching. And I think that's a very universal theme that goes back to Grecian times, Romulus and Remus. I mean, it's always been that way.
Yeah, a lot of I would say fathers. So some will do that to their sons, and you can see their sons boiling, just boiling, wanting to do something, but I don't because I still respect the guy.
It's a very heartbreaking thing when you look at the family and just wanting to earn someone's love and do right, never feeling like it's enough. That's a very sort of age-old universal thing in family.
Right.
She sort of, and then Leah.
Yeah. I was like, your character. What was about him that attracted you to him? Because he's like gangster. Your character knows he's gangster. So is she a little gangster herself?
No, I'm not initially, I don't think. And to me, it was interesting to be playing this woman and knowing that the Laszlo crime family and this gang lifestyle is not something that she was born into, like Alec. It's something that she made choices along the way to find herself in this position, and her choices are her husband. So I think that, to me, Kathy became defined when I met Josh and when we started workshopping the material, and I sort of understood their passion and how they kind of meet. Alec is, he acts before thinking at times. He's very impulsive, is what I wanted to say. But he has his heart is in the right place. And for Kathy, she has to be the yang to his yin, in a sense. Mm-hmm. She has to be able to kind of read him and anticipate and understand where he's coming from and what he wants, and she has to be able to read this, and within the family dynamic and within just the scope of this whole crazy family business that is happening, she knows her place. She never oversteps her boundaries, but she just understands it with heart and sort of has the third eye, as women do, you know?
Right, yes. She would be what we would consider a ride or die chick. If you got into a fight, she wouldn't run the other way. She would be looking for something to help you win the fight.
Absolutely.
That's like a Sons of Anarchy reference, huh?
Yes. Oh, I love Sons of Anarchy too. Oh, man. I love Sons of Anarchy too.
Yeah.
So with the intensity of your scenes, how did you guys, when they said cut, back out of that? Because you two have some very, very intense, incredible, just joined at the hip scenes. How did you guys?
Well, I think I'd be a liar if I didn't say it stuck with me. And not just our scenes, but a lot of my scenes with Martin were very deep and like very personal. And me and Martin took a lot of time in making sure that they were very honest. I'd get quite emotional after some of those scenes. There's a scene you see in episode 3 when he comes to my house.
Yes.
And
you were there. Your daughter's there. And
I went home miserable after that day. Like some of the scenes are very hard to stomach. And I think often with a TV series, especially like this, you invest a lot in your characters because you're with them for ever so long. Mm-hmm. And we did, and our days are very long. They're 16-hour days, 6 days a week. And when you live with a character like that, and we had to stay in character, because
wow, they didn't let you. I mean,
they'll let us do what we want, but I think a lot of us went home with these characters, and we had to really shake it off. It was tough. Some days were really tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely went through that as well. I haven't played a character for this length of time before. When you're working in film, it's a very encapsulated reality that you're giving this character life, but in this show, it's obviously we're growing with them, and we don't know what material is coming next for the next episode, and so you have to kind of just really sink into the character. And I definitely, when you're going in and out of playing someone that often, they certainly are right on your shoulder at times, when you come home from work. And that was probably, people ask what's the greatest challenge about having done the show so far, and that was one. It's a great part of it all, but that was certainly one of the challenges for me.
I'm glad she says that, because she normally says putting up with me.
I'm feeling generous today. What can I say?
Oh, very good. We
that
love
goes
that.
without saying, though, really.
Very good. Very good. Very good. But when it's wrapped and it's done, because there's some, like I say, gritty scenes in there. How do you close the door and say, or how do you say goodbye to that character?
At the end of the season?
Yes. How do you say goodbye to that particular character? If let's say you're working on another job, you're like, okay, how do you say goodbye to him?
Well, it's quite nice after 4 months. You need a break. Everyone needs kind of a bit of respite from it all. So it was sort of a breather, but it's weird because you do get, once you've lived with the character for so long, and you're not like when I'm doing a play or you're doing a film, you're going on one trajectory, a very definite beginning and an end with that character, unless you're doing a sequel, like the Bourne things or whatever. But even then, there's a close at the end, right? Of sorts. Yeah. I found myself doing auditions and saying like, oh God, hang on, this is too Alec. I've got to rein it in and try and do a different tack.
That happened to me once or twice too.
Yeah. You just have to try and shift and change. You work at it. It's just as much work to shake it off as it is to build it up.
But the funny thing is too is people, especially if they don't know you really well, which of course nobody does in the beginning, but they start to think that's who you are as a person. And I'm nothing like Kathy in real life. I would hope to believe, and so it's just kind of separating Leah from Kathy, like keeping her close and celebrating the qualities of her, but also really consciously making the distinction and knowing, okay, Kathy can just go over here right now, and you know. The fun of what we do.
Folks, Rogue. You have to check it out. It's really good. I'm not gonna say any more about it, but it's just, what would you say, phenomenal?
Oh boy.
You guys laugh. You laugh. I've seen a lot of TV shows.
I'm glad you can use the adjectives that you said.
It is. It is kick at. Well, yeah, phenomenal.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.